we have $120 billion of equity, so we can afford to give it away. I mean, our this is purely a market share play. We will own the market. Anything finance, anything real estate will be run through Angel AI.
So, hello everyone, Puya Mohit here, and welcome to a truly special episode of Cracking the Code. Today, we're honored to be joined by a visionary builder creating a groundbreaking AI platform for lending and real estate, one that puts ownership and control back in the hands of the user and unlocks an entirely new ecosystem of tools, services, and growth. Pavan Agarwal is the CEO of SunWest Mortgage Company and founder and CEO of Angel AI. That is the world's first fintech AI companion. Since launching Angel AI, he's been reshaping how people can access mortgages, lending, and financial opportunity. What truly sets Pavan apart is his journey. Learning coding at 10, helping scale a family mortgage business into a multi-billion-dollar operation, and channeling that experience into a mission to remove financial barriers rather than reinforce them. Pavan, it truly is a privilege to have you here today.
Yes, I was looking forward to this. This is going to be fun.
Excellent. Yes, and it's cool. We got to meet. We got to meet briefly in Los Angeles. So I'm going to talk about some of those things that I saw at your presentation. I'll weave that in. But first, I want to introduce our audience a little bit more to you. So you wrote your first AI program back in, I believe, 1985 as a child.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
Not exactly a child. I was a full-on teenager.
Full on teenager, great. But in your younger days,
just before college.
yeah, in your younger days, and
Yeah.
you were also helping your family's real estate portfolio, which is very unique. So,
Yes.
how did growing up in that environment kind of inform and shape the mindset of the Pavan that we see here with us today?
The mindset is all about entrepreneurial, and it's all about just basic, um, basic business values, which is make a buck, save a buck, right? Watch, always balance out every month. Always don't go into too much debt, right? Or don't go into any debt, really. Right? And if you're going to go into debt, use it to buy assets. Don't go into debt to buy fancy clothes or cars, right?
Absolutely.
So, and it's most immigrants have that mindset because in the old country, that's the only way you survived, right? So, and it's the same thing, work and save and build.
That's excellent. So, making sure that your dollar is not just an expense, but it's an investment, I guess, into the
Yes,
future of what you're going to do.
exactly. Every dollar you spend has to be an investment, and don't spend it on anything else. If it doesn't have a return, don't spend it.
I love that advice. I wish I had taken that as a young man myself. So now let's jump over a little bit to Angel AI. I know we're fast forwarding. What was the original problem that you set out to solve when you were making Angel AI to make it fundamentally different than what we see in the market today?
Well, the problem is the industry is way too manual, and that's what, from the 80s, and that's why I started to tinker with AI back then. Is my dad said, look at this, just data, and it just do some calculations and make some decisions. He's like, how hard can this be? You can figure it out. Like, yeah, you can figure it out. It makes sense. It doesn't seem too hard. And here we are, 40 plus years later, and we figured it out. It took that long. So the problem is simply like, it's too many hands, too many people, it's too manual. I mean, the banking industry is still in the 19th century. The world has progressed on everything you see around you, every gadget you use is all manufactured by robots, and its precision and it's accurate and its quality. You go to the store, you buy it, and open the shrink wrap, and it's going to work. Why hasn't financial services come to that point yet? Right. And it's because each financial product that's created for a customer, right, is tailor-made for each customer, right? And so whenever something is tailor-made, it requires a lot of intelligence through the manufacturing process. So that then puts a mass amount of human manual involvement in it. So it's an ideal industry for artificial intelligence because as much as it requires human intelligence, it the a lot of the human intelligence is very similar, is very pattern based, and so you can have an AI do everything that a human does in banking and a lot of real estate processes, which you support, and we can then take the same lessons we learned in banking and apply to real estate processes and multiply the productivity of real estate agents.
That's in essence, that's what every business owner and business leader wants to hear. It's what you could do more in the same amount of time with less cost.
Yes,
Sounds like a
exactly.
wonderful magic wand, and it's
But
actually true. Now, one of the things that I always hear about people, it's like, but the confidence factor in these products sometimes, especially with our experience with applications like it's everybody loves it, but applications like ChatGPT have those phantom hallucinations, sometimes I believe it's called, where elements appear in the data, and as a person who is precise in their industry with financials as real estate and mortgages, you've done something very few have dared to do. And I think you've taken your app one step further. And that's by fully warranting some of the decisions
yeah,
your AI makes. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
yeah, absolutely. I'll give you the short answer and I'll give you the long answer.
Okay.
So the short answer first, and after that, the rest of you who are not so interested in the bits and the bytes, you can tune out. So the short answer is that it's the only AI on the planet, and we have over 110 patents around this technology, and it's valued at over $100 billion. Okay, it's that special and unique. It's the only AI that is so accurate that we warrant every answer that she gives. Okay, so that warranty means that if she looks at a document or looks at your request and she gives you an answer saying, let's do it this way, okay, we will honor that. We will do it that way, even if it means that we get stuck with $1 million asset on our balance sheet that is not investment grade. We will follow the AI exactly to what she says. So that is a incredible level of warranty. If you compare that with every other AI in the world, whether it's Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude's Anthropic, they all give you a big warning that says don't trust anything and double check and do your own homework and don't follow any of my advice. And in fact, a few months ago, ChatGPT disabled medical and legal advice coming out of ChatGPT because of the right after they released ChatGPT 5 because of the liability that imposed or potentially created for them. And I suspect financial advice will be coming next, where they'll have to turn that off as well. So that's the short answer. And the long answer is that the technology is very different. We're not, there's a lot of AI companies out there that butting up say we have AI, whatever,
You
they're
have a
talking
different
about this.
language
And
model
they have some
altogether,
great,
right?
huh?
You have a
Say again?
different language model that you're utilizing altogether for your
Correct.
AI. Yeah.
Correct. Right. So, and they do some cool things. And I've seen a lot of really cool AI technology that just tremendous tools to have in your tool belt, right? But they 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 take you to a certain extent, but then they stop because when you have they do some really cool stuff, but when you have to double check it, it doesn't make you that productive, right? And that's the AI paradox, where hundreds of billions of dollars are being spent on AI and building AI data centers, but it's not making any real money, right? OpenAI said, their revenue is $20 billion and their expenses are like $1 trillion or something like that, right? So when because if you have to double check everything that AI does, you can't get an economic lift, and no one's going to be willing to pay you more than a marginal amount for for the service it provides. Okay, so on the contrary, we developed what we call a transactional language model. Okay, and we developed it from scratch, and this is back 2019 when we first rolled it out. That's when Angel AI went into full production. And the transaction language model treats the world differently. It treats the world as a series of specific decisions. Okay, and it first looks at the big picture, understands the concept, the goal. What is the goal you're seeking? Like very much like a goal seek in Excel. Okay, and then it then looks at breaks it down into millions of little decisions, and then it resolves those decisions. And so what happens is you also get in the transactional language model, you also get traceability, right? So and that's the other thing that's required in anything that involves money, anything that involves uh, high stakes decisions, medicine, law, whatever. You have to have traceability. You have to, as it thinks, it needs to tell you what it's thinking, right? Not trying to recreate what it thought after it finished thinking. It's two different things. So when you go to ChatGPT and you ask it to answer a problem, then you ask it to show me how you got there, right? It actually finds the answer first, right? And it doesn't know how it found the answer, but gives you an answer, and then it goes back and feeds that back in and says, "Give me a chain of thought." Okay, so it artificially creates the logic. It doesn't actually tell you the logic as it's doing it. It doesn't know what it actually did. It just artificially creates it.
It's a
So it
reverse
gives you
engineer based on an assumption, I guess.
right. It gives you an illusion that it's thinking, but when it's not. Okay. Right. Whereas this model actually tells you what it was thinking as it was thinking. Right. So it's a very different, it's completely unique approach to doing this. And actually, what just happened recently, there was a breakthrough paper by MIT that was released in the beginning of January, end of December, and it's called the recursive. They call it recursive language model. That's the name MIT gave it. And when you read that paper, anyone here can Google it. Just say MIT recursive language model, and it'll come up. And so and I read that paper, and there's been a lot of noise about that paper, and they're talking about that the AI industry is talking about that paper as the next big breakthrough paper. Okay, and I read it, and then I see how they're doing it. They're basically rediscovered what we discovered, 10 years ago. They did a few things differently, but it's largely what we discovered 10 years ago. And potentially, as when I read it, I saw that it could be, if anybody commercially applied it, it could be potentially infringing on our patents. So, well, we're taking some analysis on that as well. So, so the bottom line is we've figured out models and algorithms years ago, but that's just what we figured out 10 years ago, right? We figured out stuff last month. We were filing patents every month, and so the stuff, for example, the stuff we figured out last month, I don't think MIT will figure it out for another 10 years. So we'll always have a big head start on them.
So this is actually a perfect segue because when I saw you speak in California, you dropped a bomb, so to speak, on the audience as you walked us through the valuation of the AI industry, or its expected valuation, should I say, by 2030. Not just the AI industry, but then also the portion that is real estate. And I think that left jaws agape. Can you give us a little insight on that? Because I would love our audience to get a little perspective of what kind of
Right.
numbers we're talking about in this
Right.
AI world.
Yeah, like if we look at the entire U.S. mortgage industry, right, there's $2 trillion of residential mortgages that are done every year. So in essence, actual residential real estate is probably more than that. I think what 70% of residential real estate that's transacted gets a mortgage. 30% is cash buyers. So that means close to $3 trillion of residential real estate transacted every year. 2 trillion of it is done through mortgages. Okay. Whereas the AI industry itself, just the AI industry, is projected to add 15 trillion to the economy by the end of the decade, right? So that's $3 trillion a year over the next 5 years, right? And that's all forms of AI. But and that's the investment in data centers and power in engineering and economic value that's created by the apps and so forth. So if you think about the AI industry is as big as the entire residential real estate market. So and that's just this decade. And breakthroughs are coming out every single day by different companies and different researchers. So that's by 2030. Can you imagine what we're going to be by 2040? I mean, you can't even imagine that world in 2040. It's changing so fast, and things like they're using AI to create new proteins, and what used to take decades of research. They run the model through the AI, and they know how they got a new protein that they never imagined before, and it can whatever cure cancer. I mean, like they got a cure cancer vaccine now, and it's largely credit to AI. And so all of these things that are happening, so we're going to see explosion across all fields: physics, research, medicine, mathematics, everything. We're going to see this explosion in human science and human knowledge and technology across the board, and which is going to uh, change our lives in a profound way that no one alive today can comprehend what that will be by 2040. Just like when the internet came out in the mid 90s, right? No one could have imagined the impact of social media. Who would have thought that social media can move entire elections and change the course of the world, right?
Now we've
You
seen it.
know, right? So and that would have been unimaginable in the 90s, but that's what happened. It's the same thing. AI is going to move entire the way we think, way we perceive the world, how we relate to the world, what our value systems are, where we give importance. Um, it's gonna shift everything. So massive social and economic changes are on the horizon.
So when we talk about AI, I know AI is exclusive to that type of technology, but I feel like it has some siblings that are always kind of there with it. And I know it's not the same thing, but you hear these buzzwords mixed together a lot. And that sometimes is blockchain, crypto. Tell me what brought you the idea of putting all those eggs in one basket, so to speak, and bringing that family
Gotcha.
together on your platform.
Gotcha. So yeah, so Angel AI also has within it a crypto wallet. We call it Angel Wallet, and it's integrated into the blockchain. And we have like half a dozen blockchain patents to on top of Angel AI, which is really, and our patents have to do with mixing AI and blockchain together, which is quite interesting when you do that too. And what got me thinking about it, well, I live in Dorado, Puerto Rico, which is like crypto heaven here. It's, I'm surrounded by the biggest names in crypto and blockchain, and just hanging out with them for the last, since they, what, 2015, 2016, and hearing and learning what's going on, and it just and I'm working on AI, and I'm listening to what these guys are doing. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second, let's let's bring it together, right? So then and I said, you know, back then I maybe I could have bought Ethereum when it was at like 500. I could have bought a bunch of truckload of Ethereum. I could have bought Bitcoin. I could have bought yeah, I backed up the truck and bought a Bitcoin at $1,000. They were all telling me to do that.
I remember the Bitcoin in its early days, and people
Yeah,
were telling me about it. And I, of course, like everybody else, I didn't have
yeah,
confidence in it. And my
yeah,
some of my friends got it, and I just,
yeah,
if you could go back in time,
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, but back then I thought, well, shoot, it's already hit $1,000 and Ethereum's already hit 500 or whatever it was. And I thought, I guess I missed the trade. And let me think about another way to make money off and find utility with this blockchain, incredible blockchain technology. And that's when I started thinking, wait, I'm doing AI, and if blockchain AI came together, how amazing it would be. So, and what does it mean to you as a consumer? Like, why does AI and blockchain need to come together? So I spoke recently at a big blockchain conference a couple of months ago, and I explained in there that the imagine in your wallet, in your cell phone, you have a wallet, right? And it just takes 12 words that you remember, and no one can take it away from you. It's in your head. If you remember 12 words, that accesses all of your financial assets, right? And essentially not just your financial asset, but your whole life, because the Angel AI blockchain wallet not just stores your financial assets, so it keeps track of your financial assets, but it keeps tracks of all of your documents, everything that's you, right? All of your personal data, and is stored securely on chain, right? And those 12 words control everything. And so number one, when your life is on chain and secured with 12 words that's only in your head, okay, those now you own your life, not big tech. Because every time you use Google, every time you use Facebook, every time you use XAI or OpenAI, right, they're getting your life and using it to build their models. Okay, and data is the new gold. So instead, let's take that gold and put it in your own wallet. So that's step one. Okay, and then when you have your own data in your own wallet and all of the data, your transactions, your customers, your how you correspond, how you explain, like as a realtor, how would you explain, the schools and the community to a prospective buyer or seller, right? All of those details that makes you special, right? And we all know in the real estate industry what Zillow is trying to do in disintermediating the real estate agent, because they want you to use their platform, and they're getting all this information from you about all the local markets, and they're trying to use that to build their AI to intermediate you, right? And Google's trying to do the same thing, and OpenAI is trying to do the same thing. They give you all these little tricks to get that data from you. But instead, Angel AI says, hey, no, wait a minute, let's put that data in your wallet. So no one's taking it from you, and it's yours, and then you can have your own personal AI. So that's number one. Everyone needs to have their own personal AI decentralized. Number two, if the AI knows everything about you, that means it knows your goals, it knows your priorities, it knows your challenges, right? It knows, and it could predict what challenge it'll know challenges that you don't even know, right? Because it can predict, right? It can think about what could happen, and it can automatically stress test. What if rates, go up to, what if the 10-year treasury goes up to 6%? What is that going to do to you in your current financial portfolio? What if inflation jumps to 5%? What if inflation goes to zero? Right? All of these things, like this is the scary times we live in. I mean, there's potential, big things happening in the Middle East and Greenland and South America. The whole world is on fire right now, right? So, and instead of being overwhelmed by that, let the AI goal seek and manage your money for you, right? And should you if you're 100% in the dollar, maybe you should move some to gold, right? Maybe you should move more to treasuries or mutual funds or more in real estate, or whichever way, right? These are complex questions that require a lot of data to make those decisions. And quite frankly, if you call your investment banker or your wealth manager, I mean, they don't know anything. They know a little bit. They know a little bit more than you do, but at the end of the day, all they really care about is making their 3% commission on your trades, right? And they know what they know the best is how to keep you trading and engaged on the platform, right? But if the AI, so imagine the AI now and your blockchain wallet that only you have access to, right? You become like your own little central banker. Everyone is their own central banker. Why depend on the government? Nobody trusts the government. If you trust the government, you got a problem on your hands. The $38 trillion in debt, don't trust the government. Right? So instead put all your assets on chain, put it in your wallet. You control it, only you have access to it. No one can take those 12 words out of your head, right? And the AI uses that data, right? And it's on chain, so no one else can get the data. It's not going to big tech or anybody else. Uses your data, your goals, and optimizes your investments. And then it says, hey, here's what I suggest how to move the money. or where you should be invested and how much risk you should be taking in which, right? And and give you options and then that way you don't have to be an expert, right? The AI is the expert.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's the best expert because it's trained on 100,000 of the best financial minds in the world and taking all their algorithms and knowledge, and it's in a single place and it's working for you. Like however good your personal banker is, he'll never be as good as an AI that's trained on every personal banker out there.
That's unbelievably powerful.
Yeah.
That's unbelievably powerful. It's like having an actuary for financials in your pocket that is secure and that you've already done the legwork of feeding
Right.
in an innumerate amount of months, years of data into. And again,
Exactly.
secure, having that secure
Right.
ownership, which I do want to drill more into this ecosystem and some of the tools, but I want to take a quick departure as we talk about securing your identity and talk about one of the more fun and flashy features of Angel AI. Can you tell us a little bit about how one can create a virtual twin and what that feature may allow them to do and open the doors?
Yeah, we call it Angel Twin. It's lots of fun, and it costs very little money. Almost everything on Angel AI is free. Twin is one of the things that's not completely free because it is expensive to generate the twins for us. But it's really easy to set up. You just go to Angel AI, you click the apps menu, and then you just select Angel Twin, or you just type Angel Twin. And she'll ask you a series of questions. She'll ask you to upload a 2-minute high def video of yourself. Okay. With you just like right now, just you just talking into a camera, being yourself. Okay. And that high def video is then becomes your twin. Okay. And from that video, she'll learn your voice, she'll learn, your how you look, what your expressions are, and so forth. And then she'll ask you for your Instagram handle and your Facebook handle and so forth, and she'll scrape the internet for all your information, and that becomes the twin memory. That becomes the base profile of you into the twin, and then she'll start talking like you, right? And so on top of that, can do things in Angel AI like give her information about your listings and set up a new listing and set up she'll create websites for you. And if you're doing a broker showing event or something like that, or you're doing a happy hour for meet and greet for your customers or whatever, right? You can use Angel AI to set up those events and manage those events and everything,
Well, what if
right?
one of my clients might be overseas and there's a language barrier? Would you have a solution for me there?
Yeah, exactly. So Angel AI speaks like over 100 languages, and she dynamically translates. So you talk in one language, they talk another language, and it'll real time translate back and forth.
That's
Right. And
unbelievable.
it's a chat-based application. It looks just like WhatsApp. You type into it, or you can hit the microphone button, talk to it. All the same stuff. So it's very convenient, very easy to use. Right. So the point here is like all those conversations you have, the listings you put in there, the events you do in there, the websites you create. You tell her you want a website, she'll create a website for you. Right. And the beauty of all the stuff that she creates is just for you. You own it. Okay. And it's under your brand. And all that data is in your wallet. See, everything is about decentralization. And as a tech company, my priority is you and making sure you have everything that you need. Okay. And the beauty of that is it's just like your Gmail account, right? The reason everyone has, like, if you work for, and I'm just not, let's say you work for Century 21, right? And you have an email address at Century 21, but everyone uses a Gmail address. Why? Because they know that if they go from Century 21 to Remax, their Gmail address will be with them, right, forever, right? And it's the same thing here, right? Your Angel AI web footprint and Angel AI collateral that's created is yours, right? So it doesn't matter where you go, it stays with you, okay? And your wallet is of course yours because only you have those 12 words,
Yeah. And just
okay?
as a fun high level use case scenario, just to give the audience an idea of just the expansive nature of the application of maybe even your Angel Twin. I believe you mentioned a very popular and well-known buzzworthy motivational speaker that has taken on an enterprise tier of Angel Twin to create some business engagement. Can you tell us
Right.
about that?
Yeah, one of the first customers of Angel Twin through our partner Twin Protocol. So there's another company called Twin Protocol and Angel, and we came together and we made Angel Twin, right? So Deepak Chopra, which I think a lot of people may know, is an amazing guy. He was the first twin we ever created. So if you go to digitaldeepak.ai, that's essentially Angel Twin technology behind that. And that's a version one, which is it's not a video, it's a voice twin, and he has over 10,000 monthly subscribers that talk to his twin for wellness advice. Okay, and similarly, an Angel Twin is kind of like version two of this technology, where it's full video, HD video of you talking to your customer. So someone talks to your twin. When you create your twin, you get a twin link. So your twin has its own link to access the twin. Anyone can then have a conversation. You can paste that twin link anywhere on social media or whatever, share it, and people can have a conversation with your twin at any time. And the beauty of that is when someone starts talking to your twin, you get notified. You get a text message that, hey, someone's talking to your twin. Okay, so then you could jump in and monitor that conversation and also chime in. And one of the golden rules about AI twins that and if you whether you use our twin technology or somebody else's twin technology, there's a lot of tools out there that you can create a twin of yourself and post it on social media. The golden rule is never try to fool the customer, and because you will lose credibility. So you always want to start off by saying, "Hi, this is Joe's AI twin," right? Always let the customer know it's AI when it's AI. Otherwise, then they'll never know whether to believe you or not. And especially in real estate, it's all about credibility and trust. Okay, so you can use Angel Twin to talk to your customers in real time, or you can prompt her and say, "Hey, generate a video of me describing this house, this listing, blah blah blah," and she'll do that. Right? She'll create a 30-second, 1-minute video, whatever you tell her to do, whatever script you give her, and she'll generate that video, and then you can download it and you can post it on social media. So just imagine how much time it'll save you in just content creation, right? Because now you think of something, you type it in, and generates a beautiful video of you speaking about XYZ. And then it's you don't have to get in front of the camera all the time. You could just have your twin generated and start posting little 5-10 second shorts. And it's all about content. The more you post, the more engagement you get, the higher ranking you get on Google.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, we are in the future now. I mean, we are living in the future.
Yeah.
And to say that,
Yeah.
if everybody knows that you go to your doctor, the x-rays now are being read by AI, and that x-ray reading is being fed back to the doctor in real time without even a body in between. But to see
Yeah.
some of these things, to have an actual twin that maybe all of my literary works have been fed into, and then
Yes.
now represents my persona, my personality, my methodology. It's unbelievable. And as a broker myself and a marketer, just the application here. The application is earth-shattering. Evergreen content could become very turnkey.
Yes.
A lot of repetitive content becomes turnkey, creates a concierge feel that's fun and even whimsical
Yeah.
at times, in certain
Yes.
aspects. So it creates this diverse sense of engagement. And I think this is a great. So let's jump back into the ecosystem a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's dive.
Just on a side note, we even created a twin for comedian Russell Peters.
Really?
And it tells pretty good jokes too. And the jokes were so good that Russell was laughing. He's like, "Hey, this is good."
So it researches its own jokes to build new jokes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because he's got a lot of content on YouTube. He's got tons of content out there. So we loaded all of that into the AI. And we ask it questions that even though it's nothing like that in the database, it's a new question off the wall, but it responds the way Russell would have responded in a clever joke. So it's good.
I unpopular comment, but I think some of the fans of Stranger Things would have hoped that they used Angel AI to write that last season versus who currently wrote it. Just kidding. Don't kill me, internet. Don't kill me, internet. But jumping back into the ecosystem a little bit. real estate agents are one of our biggest clients, and we also have mortgage brokers and title, but real estate leaders are definitely some of our largest clients. And I believe you guys are starting to roll out an unbelievable feature that would be earth-shattering for real estate agents, and that's in the
Yes.
field of transaction coordination. Tell me a little
Correct.
bit about that.
Yeah, actually, we rolled it out in last summer, and we announced it in our app. And I think back then we had it in 7 states, 7 U.S. states, and I think we're up to like 15 or so now.
Wow.
And in a few months, we'll have every state in the union covered. So basically, it does almost everything your transaction coordinator does for you. And that doesn't mean your transaction coordinator is out of a job. It just means your transaction coordinator can do a lot better job, okay, and can handle a lot more transactions. Because I know like the top agents, they'll have a team of transaction coordinators, 2 or 3 transaction coordinators, right? And they're always those transaction coordinators, poor things, are always stressed out, right? And they're always dealing, working late and dealing with stuff. Now they don't have to be stressed out. They can offload all the mechanics, like drafting the purchase contract and making sure documents get signed and so forth. Right? All of those things can be offloaded to the AI, and they're just there, and then they can focus on the most important part, which is maintaining the customer relationship and keeping the deal together, right? That's the real value for a great real estate team, is they keep the deal together. They keep the buyer and seller from duking it out, right?
Right. And
And
I could see this bringing back one, it triples, like I would say, it triples the productivity of your transaction coordinator. So again, like you said, it's not getting rid of somebody, but it's increasing their productivity on one hand, but in the other hand, accuracy. And when I
yes,
say time as a broker, one of the things that I see the biggest gripe from agents to admin side is the amount of time an update is sent back to an agent. So if I send it
yes,
over to a TC and it takes a day for them to comb through and find an error that maybe I need a remedy, oh man, why did it take a day? I wish
yes,
I'd known. I was just with my seller. They've already
yeah,
left, et cetera, et
right,
cetera. So
right.
this
There's
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a need for speed in this business, right? Because when you receive a document or receive an update, right, the person sending it expects the other side to look at it instantly,
Mhm.
right? But obviously, anyone in the business knows that, well, when I receive it, my transaction coordinator could be at lunch. She may have 5 other files ahead of it. Who knows what else is going on, right? And so it's not going to be looked at instantly. It's going to be looked at when it gets looked at. And usually, because the person who's sending it, their attention is on it at that moment, and you want to get a response back to them at that moment. And then things get moved fast, and then everyone feels like, wow, these guys are on it. What great service we're getting, right? So even that brief delay, 30-minute delay, right, can derail that feeling. And what we're selling in the real estate business, we're selling that high class, high touch feeling.
Mhm.
And without speed, that feeling cannot be delivered. And all the top agents are watching this. I know they know what I'm talking about. It's you need that quality execution, right?
Yeah, and very minimal downtime. I mean, what does they always say? Time kills deals.
Yes.
And kind of as you mentioned before, the goal of the transaction coordination component in the app is to allow the agent to focus on that relationship. And you said it very succinctly, keeping the deal together. Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to get to closing.
Yep.
Um,
And it's all about making sure the emotions are under control, and that every and right. And it's and the same thing, obviously, if your real estate agent only has you as a client, you got a problem, because that guy's not is not going to survive. Right? You want a real estate agent who's doing a lot of deals every month, because you want a strong and financially capable agent. But at the same time, you want to feel like you're the only agent. You like you're his only client, right? So that's the paradox in this business. You want to work for an agent who's doing thousands of deals, yet you want to feel like you're the only one,
right.
right? That's the paradox, right? And to solve that paradox, you need this kind of technology.
Yeah, a digital partner. And for all those, again, I reiterate, for those who are afraid, they're like, I don't want to get rid of my assistant. I need a person. Have a person, but have them utilize that AI tool to multiply and improve the quality of the service that they're offering. So what's
Exactly.
next? What's next in the world of AI? What's coming next? What should we expect next? You have your finger on the pulse. I know you've worked on policy regarding AI. I mean, you've done it
Yes.
all when it comes to
Yeah.
AI. And with over 10 years just in Angel AI alone under your belt, I'm sure you've seen a lot behind the scenes. So tell us, what do we have to expect?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had a big, you mentioned policy, we had a big policy conference in DC in last summer, and we're doing a follow-up to that. It's called US Strategy in AI and Crypto. We're doing a follow-up on that this March, and we're getting the Vice President's office involved in this this time because it was such a big success last time. They looked at this like, hey, we want to get involved now. And so if anyone in the DC area, even if you're not in the DC area, definitely a conference that you should attend. Um, and we haven't announced the date yet, but look, follow my Instagram and look for the announcement. And if you mentioned that you saw it, you heard about it on this podcast, we'll make sure you get a ticket. Because
Awesome. Hey,
last time
everybody
it
listen to
was
that. Listen to that.
last time when we had the conference, it was sold out in like, 1 day. Right. So we got 300 tickets. And it was a free event, and we're gonna have a free event again. And it was literally, invitational. We sent the invitations out and it was gone. And this time it's gonna be it's gonna be a small event, purposely small event, less than 300 people so that you get real quality time with all the policymakers that'll be there, lawmakers and policymakers that'll be at the event. So that's the what you have to see that's coming in the future is as far as Angel AI is like everything finance and everything investment and everything about managing your money will be in the product this year. We already have insurance, we already have mortgages, obviously, we already have credit repair. Okay, we already have real estate transaction coordinator stuff. We have marketing support, every kind of marketing you can imagine, but both as a realtor and as a loan officer, is it does all that for you. Okay, and then we have the Angel Twins, and we have Angel Sign, which is a free replacement of DocuSign. I mean, so all of you out there spending $50, $100 a month on DocuSign, you just switch to Angel Sign, and it won't cost you anything. There's no strings attached, and it works smoother and better than DocuSign.
How do you do it? How do you do it, Pavan? How are you offering all this value? It's an amazing thing, and I've gotten to
Yeah,
experience it myself. So it
yeah.
sounds too good to be true, but I could
It's
attest it's
yeah,
real. It's real, and
it's
it's
real.
here.
It's real. We have $120 billion of equity, so we can afford to give it away. I mean, our this is purely a market share play. We will own the market. Anything finance, anything real estate will be run through Angel AI in the next 12, 24 months. That's the goal. We invite you to try it out. We invite you to work with us, use the app. There's no bait and switch here. We make money by you using the app and then hopefully buying some of our upstream financial services. Okay, because we have the tech company. I have a tech company and I have my finance company. They work hand in hand. So if you're in there, you're more likely to use my financial services. It's as simple as that. No requirement. It's free for everyone to use. There's no obligation that you have to use my financial services, but it becomes so much easier when you do.
Yeah. Well, making things easy and making things accessible is the
Right.
name of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah. Man, it's like with anything. I mean, every top realtor that's listening to this knows that you have to lead with value.
Yeah.
Right? You have to have an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. Right. And if you don't invest in a relationship, if you don't start off by saying, let me do something for you, let me tell you about the market or this or that, you're not gonna get very far in the world. Right. And we're sitting on a lot of equity and we have the ability to be very abundant.
Excellent. Speaking of mindset, I want to close. We're going to kind of get to the close here, but I want to jump into some billion-dollar questions. These
Okay.
are the billion-dollar questions. They're kind of quicker and they're kind of on top of everybody's mind. So, even just talking about Angel AI, it can do TC work, it could do processing, it could create a twin, it could be me. Is AI going to replace the professional?
I'll be very frank about this. It's going to replace the sloppy professional. Okay, there's a lot of sloppy people out there who don't do the work properly, who somehow manage to be unprofessional and still stay in the business. Okay, and those guys really need to up their game. Right? If they don't up their game, if they don't really get serious about providing, real value and services to their customers, they're going to get replaced, right? Because ultimately, if you're not building relationships, and if you're not a value add, and most importantly, if you're not investing in learning these tools and learning how to leverage it for your maximum benefit, you really are going to get replaced.
Yeah. And in that same vein, if you've been to a coaching, real estate coaching event, mortgage coaching event, or just industry mixer event in the past 5 years, you've heard AI, you've heard virtual assistants, you've heard automation and systems. Where do you see that going in the next 5 to 10 years? Those three things.
Well, I think we're very close to um, you you like a property, you're a buyer, or and you see a property, you tell the AI, hey, I want to buy this property, and the AI will advise you on the best purchase price for you to offer based on the market and based on your financial, right? And you look at that, you discuss it with your agent, and if you accept, you hit accept, okay, and the purchase contracts and the settlement is executed on the spot, and you have the house in minutes. It's literally going to be like that.
There's an app for that.
That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. The only thing that keeps you from closing instantaneously, right? Actually, all the technology is already here. The only thing that keeps you closing the minute the purchase contract's accepted is if you're doing financing, is the trade rule of 7-day cooling off period. Right. That's right. So under U.S. law, you have to wait 7 days on financing before you close. Okay. But literally everything else can settle on the spot because
So,
title insurance is all automated. It comes back in minutes. There's really not much need for appraisals with how strong AVMs are now. So you get a value verified in a few minutes, not less than a few minutes, in seconds, right? So everything is done. And
so it's hypercritical for brokers to get into the game now and make
yes,
sure that they are prepared for this future that is this
right.
one click,
It's
process.
yes, yeah, literally one click, and it actually is going to be one click. And if you're financing, if it's not a cash offer, if you're financing, it's one click. You wait 7 days and you get the keys. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And on the seventh day, you receive the documents assigned through Angel Sign. You click on the signatures, and the money arrives through stablecoin. Remember, stablecoins are now a real thing, right? So there's no more wires anymore. Okay, so because there's no more wires, no need for escrow. Okay, so settlement happens instantaneously, 24 hours a day. So the money can arrive anytime now.
So, Pavan, I want to get your final message to the world. If every aspiring entrepreneur, technologist, and professional industry leader was tuned into us right now, which they are tuned in, what's the one message you would want to leave them about innovation, perhaps inclusivity, and what is coming next?
Oh, wow. I think it goes back to what our tagline is nothing is beyond reach. Okay. And we say that because you mentioned, inclusivity, and we say that because a lot of people self-exclude themselves, right? Because they get trained since they're a kid that, oh, you're not good enough to do this, or you're not, you'll never be more than X, right? Like even in grammar school, right? They'll put you on these tracks, whether you go to college prep or you go to advanced prep, and they set you on these tracks. You're either gonna go to Ivy League, or you're gonna go to trade school, or you're gonna get a college, high school degree. They start training kids,
Yeah.
right? Right? At a very young age, that this is all you can do, right? And they start putting them on these tracks, and then they come out of high school, and whatever they train them to believe that they are, they're stuck with that. And that's a bunch of nonsense. This stuff was designed literally in the 19th century by industrialists who wanted a slave society that could run their factories. And they created these different tiers in society. They had everywhere from factory labor to managers, and then they designed the education system accordingly. And we're still following the same education system. We're teaching our kids that you're limited to what some bureaucratic Department of Education tells you are. Right? It's time to end all that and really just stop and realize that all this training that has been given to you through your whole life, saying this is all you'll amount to, is a bunch of nonsense. It's been trained so that someone else can have power over you and control over you. And I think that's why most people who are watching this, who are real estate agents, can feel that in their heart, like, hey, wait a minute, I'm more than this. I don't have to be in a track. I need to be independent. I can run my own business, right? And you already know that, right, at some level. And what I see is that the really successful agents have completely embraced it and take responsibility with it, right? Because there's one thing to say, I'm free, right? And believing you're free and not tied to any of these shackles that were put on you by society. But it's another thing to accept that freedom with the responsibility that it brings. And so the top agents are mentally free and understand the responsibility and have that discipline, right, to execute the freedom.
That's beautiful. So at its essence, AI is a tool for empowerment. And if responsibly and effectively used, it could change lives and give us freedoms that we thought we never had. So that's beautiful. Pavan, thank you so much, not just for your insight today, but for the charitable and inclusive way that you're using this innovation to create opportunity, not just efficiency. And to our listeners out there, thank you as always for joining us on this episode of Cracking the Code. If this expanded your thinking, gave you clarity, or inspired your next big move, please follow, like, share, and definitely leave a comment below. We've cracked open some powerful ideas today, but the next move is yours. Until next time, think boldly, lead wisely, and keep cracking the code. Thank you again, Pavan.
Thank you.